by Mr. David East and seconded by Mr. Tim Scandrett.
Yep. Okay.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yes?
He's the chair, but I might chair this one, so
Right. I'll move by Tim Scandrett and seconded by David East. I will put that motion.
Sorry,
all those
questions?
Go for it.
Yeah?
Yeah, cool. I was just concerned that I just was interested to know.
The staff aren't here.
The staff aren't here to answer.
They had to be elsewhere, so I said it was fairly straightforward, and I was quite happy for them to go. But if I can answer the questions as well.
Yeah, I was just wondering why we're not issuing infringement notices, and it said that it was because of a change in staff personnel, and I just wondered what we're doing to address that going forward, because we don't seem to be we haven't been issuing infringement notices, and we're talking about increasing the fines, which kind of comes back to the point that was made around the freedom camping stuff. If we're not going to enforce the current infringement regime, why are we increasing the fines?
Well, I can't answer that, but I can certainly ask the question. But I am presuming that, when it was prior to this, when it was $100 fine and you have to drive out, go through the rubbish, all that kind of thing, it's just beyond us. So
no, it says here, council staff have not issued any other infringement notices in the last few years due to a change in personnel.
I'll have to get an answer on that. I can't answer that. Sorry.
It does say that greater fines may present a greater deterrent to littering, and less littering will lead to improve the environment.
And it is in line with other areas now to the fines. So.
Yeah, I don't mind increasing the fines, but if we're not going to issue infringement notices, then what's the point?
It says council should consider updating and adopt a new approach. So it will include things like how we enforce it.
Do you have enough staff, or do you want a resolution?
Well, I think that it needs an
let's just
assessment in terms of what we need.
I can't.
It needs an assessment in terms of what we need.
Is your microphone on? I can't hear.
It needs an assessment of what we need to actually enforce these things. Because it may not just be staff, there might be other things in terms of, recovery and...
Right, great. So can I move an additional resolution that does that?
I think that it's just part of the process anyway.
This is coming back to notes that following the completion of the public notification period, staff will put a further report to the full council with respect to the proposed change and increase in infringement fees for infringement offences. So they can report back to council at the same time. So if you just want to note that will also include the enforcement regime as well.
That'd be all right. Thank you.
Cool. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. That's carried. We've done the regs and consent minutes, have we?
No, we didn't do that. Right.
I thought we did all of the minutes. If we refer to item 3, we did. These? Right. Item 33. Next volume.
So, Madam Chair, if I may just declare interest in civic building and CTHL, and there'll be various other councils.
Yeah.
And I'd like to declare an interest in civic building and base.
I declare Rick Bushmaster.
Okay. In future, when these items are coming up, can you just tell the staff to put forward conflicts to the relevant bodies? You can
be automatic.
It should be
automatic. It should be
all of the relevant appointees are noted.
Yeah.
Right.
And meeting, we already declared. We already declared.
I know.
We need to continue
You
to
have to
declare.
do it.
Every time we need to declare.
So all you need to
Thank
do
you.
is just at the beginning of the meeting or before the meeting, you notify staff of the declarations of interest, which is what people normally do. But
Okay, thank you.
so just an oversight on this occasion. So, would someone like to move that we receive the half-year report for the following council control organisations? Moved by Raph, seconded by Jamie. Is there any discussion? I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. That's carried. Strategy and finance committee minutes were done. Yes. I think we'll find a reference to item 3 again. Littleton Port recovery and update. That was the subject of a declaration earlier in the meeting. And it's a noting recommendation. Andrew, would you like to move that?
Yep, I'm happy to move it.
And seconded by Paul. Arnie, did you have questions?
Yeah, I just thought when the comments that were made in the deputation that it might be quite useful to get the port to come and brief the councillors over what they're doing. And I also wondered
There's
whether...
no point looking around the room because I can't invite them to the table.
No, I was just also just wondering around whether maybe actually meeting with the directors and the local community board who are affected would be quite useful.
I'd like to hear from Andrew first because he's on the board and he did indicate that he was going to respond to these issues when it came to the receipt of the report.
Indeed, yes. I mean, I'll preface by making a comment that was made in the deputation, maybe slightly differently, but with the same effect. As long as there's been a port of Littleton, there's been a town of Littleton, and vice versa. The port and town exist side by side and need to exist side by side. And that means that the port management and the port governance and the community and the community board and other community organisations need to be able to communicate and engage well with each other. Certainly the comments that were made in the deputation indicated that there are times when that engagement isn't as good as it could be, and that's really based on a history, I think, of engagement not has been as good as it could be as well. So the deputation particularly related to the style and design, the urban design for Dampier Bay. And the way I read the deputation, the way I heard the deputation was more around process than substance, and it was around the fact that the port had interpreted this part of the recovery plan as bringing this set of guidelines, this set of design guidelines forward themselves, without too much in the way of collaborative consultation with council and with no consultation really with the community, other than the consultation that had happened prior to the recovery plan being adopted. And the issue that was raised in the deputation really was that the community board, and I think anecdotally to a large extent the community, are disappointed that they weren't involved at the front end of that process, given the issues that were raised in the recovery plan consultations and subsequent hearings and so on, around Dampier Bay being seen as a possible duplicate town centre to the existing Littleton town centre, the design of Dampier Bay having an effect visually on that part of Littleton and the nature of historic heritage homes being quite close by, and also just the way that Dampier Bay might function, might be used, might be accessed, and so on. And there's a lot of conversation in the community around that. And I think the view of the community was very much that they would like to be engaged up front in any process that talked about the design of the Dampier Bay area. And there's disappointment been expressed obviously through the deputation today and in other ways that hasn't occurred. That then speaks to a wider issue of engagement between the community and the port has not been the best for a long time, and I guess there exists an environment where the community kind of interpret bad faith to a lot of the initiatives the port come up with. There's an overriding conversation that goes on in Littleton around the recovery plan, which goes something like, well, the port will get what they want, they'll get their reclamation, but then the public realm benefits will probably be harder to get, may actually not be forthcoming. That may not actually be a genuine view on where the recovery plan's at, but it's influenced by the way that relationship has run for the last 20, 30 or more years. So I think that probably sums up the point that Christine was making in the deputation this morning. Where we've got to with the recovery plan is that Council on a number of years has continued to take quite a staunch approach to a more relaxed approach that the port have taken to some of the directives and outcomes under the recovery plan. And again, that really is just making sure that the port do what they're meant to do and what they're committed to do under the various sections of the recovery plan, so that we don't get to a situation where the public realm is diluted, or some of the public realm actions don't act in a way that we would have expected. So it's really against that background that we receive this update. The recovery plan working party have continued to direct staff that what we expect to see are recovery plan outcomes for the community, as described, as timed in the recovery plan, and that we continue to work with the port on an assumption that they're also motivated to deliver in that way. there have been areas where the port sent signals that they're wanting to push timelines out and maybe dilute things a little bit. So maybe that's helpful just by way of linking the comments that were made in the deputation to the report that we've got in front of us.
So, Brad.
Yeah, Andrew, thanks. Could you just refresh our memory to who's on the working party?
So there are 3 councillors on the working party, myself, Paul Lonsdale and Jimmy Chen. There are 3 community board members, Christine Wilson, who may be deputation today, Paula Smith, the chair of the board, and Anne Jolliffe, who's another board member.
Right. And how do we need with the port?
We have really, so the working party has rather more met with staff and met with ECAN as well, actually, on a number of occasions, to, I guess, direct staff and to determine how we deal with the matters that are directed in the recovery plan, rather than meeting directly with the port. There have been presentations from the port to the community board and the working party, which have been useful, but a lot of the work we're doing over the urban design issues or on some of the other access issues have really been advising our staff on how they react to various issues that have been put up by company staff. So on an office level, we haven't had a governance relationship with the port in any way, no.
Well, perhaps that might be something to think about.
I think that might be useful. Would you like to comment, Richard? Or?
Other than to say that, I think it's important that the port recovery and working party continues, but it, like you say, it's not really an opportunity to engage externally. It's more been staff governance, and we have gone about and provided that feedback to the port, but I would imagine to get progress it probably needs to be at a more senior level.
Meeting with the board of the port, small them up, say like a meeting.
I would encourage the port, given Andrew describes it, the potential for some divergence in positions on some significant issues. We've encouraged the port to ensure that both continues to increase its engagement with the community and commences its engagement with both the community board and the council.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's elements of relationship building that go both ways. I do recall, that one comment that was made about might have been the master plan for the community, which completely ignored the numbers of people that worked on the port when they referred to the numbers of people who were in Littleton. And so the disengagement sort of seemed to be quite structural and fundamental, and actually building that relationship. And I guess in the land use recovery plan context, the Littleton recovery plan, it was very much a slightly more legalistic positions. But now it's time to really build community engagement again.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first made comments when the recovery plan was first announced, I talked about this being an opportunity for the port and the community to work together to get the best for Littleton. And maybe now that we've gone through the initial phases of how the various directions in the recovery plan are going to be handled, it might be time for a meeting between the working group and appropriate people from the port to progress that discussion. Maybe we've got a meeting coming up of the working party next week. It might be good for us to talk about what we want on the agenda for that meeting and set it up at that time.
Yeah. Ellie.
Andrew Houston on the cruise berth working party group as well, which is very informal and has no delegations or anything. But there's nothing that you can see that your working group is doing as far as the recovery plan goes that is working past or missing anything that the cruise berth working party's doing. I'd hate that to be happening, but I'm just assuming with you being on both that we're on the same.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm not aware of anything where we talk past each other. I see myself as the link between those two groups.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I just wonder whether this isn't a good chance. Because the other thing that I took from what Christine said, and I'm a former Littleton resident myself, was but not from a child, but I do have childhood memories of going down to Littleton And what she spoke of was this incredible sense of loss of connection with the waterfront itself. And that is something that they're an ambition to restore in the Littleton recovery plan. And it's, it's very much, not so much a port issue, but a community issue in that regard.
And Leah, can I just comment the timeline here? Because, going down to get the ferry from Littleton to Diamond Harbour, each time you catch it, it's either in a different place or there's a different maze system to get there. It's very difficult to figure out where to actually go to get their boat. And if we're trying to enhance the economic opportunities and the tourism opportunities for Diamond Harbour, I see this as a barrier, which probably won't be rectified until this plan is implemented. Would I be right there?
Those decisions will be made.
Yes, but what to do in the meantime? I just think it's
the recovery plan process. I mean, I support the recovery plan process, which is why I'm happy to support the resolution. But because, I mean, if you didn't have this process, you would have multiple years of resource consent applications and multiple years of appeals, and I don't know when we'd actually start with the rebuild of the port if we went through a normal, less than fast track process.
Well, that's true, I agree with that.
We would remember the initial letter that requested the recovery plan and the number of consents that would be required to achieve the same as the recovery plan does if we'd done that in a business as usual environment. But just to comment on that ferry terminal, the level of amenity provided by the Diamond Harbour ferry terminal has been a huge concern to both Littleton and Diamond Harbour residents for a very long time, long before any recovery plan was even thought of.
And it probably will continue.
So I was wondering, I don't really know who to direct the question to, but since we've acquired 100% of the port, we've had no meeting with the directors. So at what stage do we get a briefing as the council, the governance level, about what the port?
That's not true. That's not true. The chair and the CEO took us out on the harbour and spent time briefing us, so that is that's available. And you can call up the chair any time and say we'd like a meeting and working parties, no problem.
Kellen and I had a meeting with them about a week or so ago.
Yeah, so my understanding was there was an initial meeting, and then the idea was that they would come and actually brief the kind of strategic thinking around going forward. And I mean, we got the site visit, but we didn't really get the in-depth kind of briefing around, here's how much expenditure is happening, here's on what, here's the kind of strategic thinking about where things are happening with ports going forward.
That's it. We do it. I mean, you're on the CCA.
Just going to say you're on the
board
CCA.
We do get a statement of intents. It's all in the report. You can take time to read it.
I read all of their reports. So, but anyway, I mean, the thing is that I think that what Christine was asking for and what Andrew has really picked up in his comments is to get that relationship building exercise happening at the local level. Certainly, Carleen and I met with the Chief Executive and the Chair about a week ago, and we do intend to bring them up for a briefing, but it's a question of organising timeframes. So we've got our annual plan to get through, so it is going to happen.
That's right. And the only other point I wanted to raise was, if you look at what the port's doing now, it is wider than Littleton. Yes, Littleton does have a considerable area of impact, and that's certainly acknowledged. There's certainly an impact in Wolston. There's certainly going to be
the Littleton Port Recovery Plan is a statutory document which we're receiving an update on. So when we discuss the wider issues with the Littleton Port Company, then fine. But I think that's really, I think we've had enough on this. And I will go to the point of, have we got a mover and a seconder? We have, and I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That carries. Council properties for review. Happy to move.
I'm happy to second.
Moved by Ray, seconded by Jamie. Does anyone have any questions? Put Angus on this.
Can you just explain just a little bit the when it's more on the diagram? So in terms of the actual process that you're recommending, can you just take us through at what stage the community board will be made aware of the surplus property or the property of consideration? And how they...
So, following this meeting and ratification of this report and the process, we would send out a memo with the attached list of properties to all the community boards. That would be the start of the process for them. So immediately following this meeting in the next month, we'll circularise this to all the boards and work with the community governance team, and the community will develop whatever form of consultation process they want to create around this.
Alright, so I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. That's carried. Item number 37. Dancing Light for Stars, transfer of grant request.
Oh, this looks interesting.
It's not you consultation.
That's actually the next one comes to it. We all took care. It's just a fluke.
Would someone like to move this? Yep. Vicky, seconded Paul. Any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. That's carried. Number 38, Earthquake Mayoral Relief Fund.
I've got an interest here. I'm taking part in a fundraiser for that, so I'll talk to you.
I think you're taking part in a fundraiser. Who hasn't? How much have you raised?
I'm going to...
You dancing?
You're a fundraising organiser for the Home and Family Society?
No, they're running an event and I've been asked to take part in it, so that's
I think you
what it is.
It's dancing.
You're dancing. Doing the dancing.
Yeah, that's the local...
Let's go. That is not a conflict of interest, but it's a pretty strange thing to be. Oh, sorry.
We won't watch.
Right. No, congratulations. I completely, I'm going to the fundraiser, but I would never, ever. But now that I know that you're going to be dancing, I'm going to enjoy it even more.
I've got tickets in my bag, so...
Maybe not a conflict.
That's not a conflict of interest. It is.
My advice was a bit unsure, but in that stay at zero.
What's the conflict? No conflict.
His association with the group.
Look, I have done fundraisers. I have participated in fundraisers, not dancing. I will never do dancing. Watch my lips, never dancing. But to say that a councillor participating in a fundraising event, there is absolutely not a conflict of interest. I mean, I've supported the Home and Family Society since I was the MP for Christchurch Central. It's going back sort of 25 years.
I'm happy to move it.
Right. Yes, thank you. What, 3-4?
The Dancing with the Stars.
No, this is not. This is the Home and Family Society are doing a Dancing at the Stars type event, fundraising event.
I just want to see.
Yeah.
Are you going to wear one of those suits, the skin tight suits?
I actually think the tickets will be worth more if he does. Okay, so it's been moved by Paul, seconded by Vicky. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Thank you. I'm glad that the Christchurch Earthquake Mayoral Relief Fund provided us with some light relief for the afternoon. Windscreen washers, 6-month report, police delegation. And this is a noting paper. Would someone like to move that we note this? Ali, seconded David. Are there any questions?
I just want to make a comment. Interesting enough that one of the key areas was actually on Ward Ave, and the amount of businesses that went out of business because of those windscreen washers is it's good to see this rectified, but it does highlight the point that you've got to get on with these things quickly, otherwise it does have quite a major impact.
Yeah, I just love the fact that the focus has been on actually getting these young people into proper work, and it's been great.
Yeah, just a thought that crossed my mind was where we're at with the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs. I know we've all been flat out, but it does exist somewhere in the organisation, and whether that could be joined up with this.
Yeah, well, we have not played an active role for the last couple of years.
Well,
it's something that I thought we could put on the agenda for the next term. Who happens to be the mayor. But I'm sure that will be that could be a leadership role that someone could take on. Okay, I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. That's carried. Land use recovery plan review and did you cover off the, that section of the Russell Road there and in the earlier discussion today? Or
No, I'm quite interested on, on the...
I can give an update on that if you like as part of this.
Because they did go out for consultation on removing that designation.
Yes, the Minister put out a notice earlier on the year which we submitted on, and the notice itself put forward the
what did we, how, just remind people, because people sometimes lose the track of things because not everyone's on the District Plan Review Committee, but we submitted in favour of removing the designation or the change of zoning on that piece of land.
So
do you want to describe the piece of land, describe the zoning it has now, the zoning that the alert put on it, and then what the Minister was consulting on, and then tell us what happened.
I'll try my best.
Okay.
What this paper does is provide you with an update on the review, which started in about May last year, or even April last year. And we submitted on this twice, and I think the final was essentially managed by Environment Canterbury. They provided their recommendations to the Minister in about September last year. Early on this year, as part of that alert review process, the Minister, or Sarah, put out a public notice, and the notice basically sought comment from any member of the public about the possible removal of what is known as the Avonhead Greenfield Priority Area, and that's that area in and around the cemetery adjacent to the Dakota Park access to Christchurch International Airport, so just off Russley Road. And so we saw comments for a 10-day period. We submitted on that, or commented on that, and agreed with what was being proposed, i.e. that the Greenfield Priority Area be uplifted from the Land Use Recovery Plan, and that would also remove it from the Canterbury Regional Policy Statement. However, in the final loop review, or the final decisions on the loop, the Minister decided to uplift that Greenfield Priority Area designation, for want of a better description.
Yes, Brad.
You're saying that the Minister proposed to uplift it and then decided not to? And did he give a reason?
No, not that I'm aware of. I presume it was simply a matter of considering the submissions, and there are probably submissions which were made for and against uplifting it. So after having considered those, Sarah, or the Minister, decided not to uplift the Greenfield Priority Area designation. But in the correspondence that I've seen, there's really no mention of it. It simply lists the decisions that were made to change the LURP. It doesn't indicate the decisions that weren't made in any detail.
So is there a record of the submissions? Are they publicly viewable?
Yep.
Yes, they'll probably be on the DPMC website, and I think I've provided a link to that in my report to you. If you turn to page 512, there's a link to the, and I've included some of that documentation, although not all of it, in the appendix to the report. And so that's the public notice. So information we've received is that notice here. If you read that public notice, you'll see there's no reference to the Avonhead Greenfield Priority Area. But just to finish off answering the question put to me, the one issue which is not yet resolved and which is currently for the independent hearings panel is what the zoning will be for that. So you can imagine we have a hierarchy of plan documents, and the LURP being up here being the higher order document that we need to give effect to as part of our district plan review. And that's saying, well, we think this area is appropriate for industrial uses, then that matter of rezoning it to industrial still needs to be decided on by the independent hearings panel. Now the hearing has been held for that, but a decision is yet to be released. So at this stage the zoning sits as it currently is, which is Rural 5 or Rural Urban Fringe, and that's, as the name would suggest, the Rural Urban Fringe. I think it's no subdivision less than 4 hectares, that sort of carry on, so it's anticipated rural zone, so that the independent hearings panel was yet to make a decision on that rezoning.
Okay, thank you.
So, Doesn't it leave us in a tricky position that the nothing that the independent hearings panel can determine for our district plan or the replacement district plan can be inconsistent with the provisions of the LURP?
Yes, that's correct. However, in terms of considering the independent hearings panel will also need to address the issues that have been raised, such as infrastructure constraints. And certainly one of the concerns that we raised with them was the potential issues associated with access to the state highway, which is adjacent to it.
Well, that's a huge concern.
Yes, so the independent hearing panel will need to balance up that direction of not being inconsistent with the LURP and having to give effect to the regional policy statement with the concerns raised about a lack of infrastructure to services redevelopment and potential issues associated with opening that up adjacent to a state highway network. We've got the Memorial Ave interchange proposed in reasonably close proximity to a new access.
I just can't find the submissions on the website, so they must be here. What was the joined up Crown position on it?
In terms of the...
in terms of that area of land.
So in terms of the district plan review, or in terms of on the LURP, the Crown proposed, or the Minister proposed to uplift the designation but didn't pursue it. As part of the district plan review.
Having a reason why leaves us in a bit of a quandary, because I know that I don't think that the residents out there realise this.
I'm not sure if they do or they don't. It was only a process that we got involved in via submissions, so it's not a process that we managed.
Yeah.
But the thing that they're probably waiting to see decided is the decision of the independent hearings panel, which is we're yet to receive.
But the independent hearings panel will make the decision without hearing any more submissions and completely without the knowledge of what the submissions were. And
so they'll make their decision independent of the LURP, because the LURP hasn't changed. It'll still have a greenfield priority area sitting on top of it, but as I mentioned, they'll have to weigh up the need to not be inconsistent with that, give effect to the regional policy statement. The other issues that we raised via our evidence, as did others, of traffic effects associated with potential access to the state highway and other infrastructure constraints as well. So that'll be a decision of the independent hearings panel.
Okay, I think that I'm trying to get to understand how if the minister went out and publicly consulted on something, in fact that it's just not included. Maybe he hasn't finished his determination on it, or was it for the purposes of this review of the land use recovery plan? I mean, could it be something that's still awaiting a final result?
No, that the land use recovery plan's been reviewed. I don't think there's any intention, as far as I'm aware, to make any further changes to it, but obviously that would be a decision for the minister supporting earthquake recovery. As recovery plans still have that weight afforded to them under the Regeneration Act, as I've mentioned in my report.
Well, could we just get a memo on this? I can't find the submissions.
I can't find the submissions on the website.
Could we do a quick analysis of the submissions?
Yeah, because they didn't come to us, so they went to Sarah, and Sarah considered them and presumably provided advice to the minister on that matter.
Yeah, we need to get the submissions. We need to get the advice that went to the minister, because at the moment we're sort of shooting in the dark. Really, we don't know why he didn't proceed with the decision to resolve it.
And the community is expecting that uplift.
Yeah, but it's the other LURP submissions. These are what we're looking for, the submission, not the submissions on the LURP. We're looking for the submissions on the minister's public
proposal to uplift the greenfield priority.
So they won't be on the ECAM website, will they?
No, because it wasn't administered by ECAM, it was administered by Sarah, so it might now be on the DPMC website, but I'll need to check that.
Okay. So if you could get us that, I think it's quite important, because there will be a lot of public interest in one, why that didn't proceed, and two, how will the independent hearings be? Because I mean, I think our efforts in this regard are going to be paramount, because I mean, we were very clear that our objection to the designation remaining was that it was the impact on the turning out of in terms of the main highway there. There's a huge amount of work that's going on there at the moment, but that area is just going to get, I mean, it will get freer, but it'll get faster. I mean, it's going to be a very, very challenging area. So, I mean, I just can't see that it's got any reason to change its designation in that regard. Right?
I can certainly provide you with a memo on that.
Great. Yanni?
Yeah, I just wanted to check, in our submission, we supported Area 3, possibly. We said it might not be appropriate to delete the entire Area 3, but we supported the deletion of Area 1. So just a little confused, just trying to understand. The concern that the community have is over that Area 3, not Area 1, is that correct?
Yeah.
And that's the area that in our submission we said should, there needs to be more work and shouldn't be deleted in its entirety.
Yep, so you need to think that there was 3 submission or comment opportunities as part of this process. And when we first started engaging with Sarah on this over a year ago now, we were still doing some further work on what the infrastructure constraints were. So we flagged the issue to the Minister that there were these constraints there. And then by the time we got to the public notice being put out early this year, we'd done sufficient work to be in a clear enough position to say, yes, we agree it should be uplifted. Okay, so that was our final position on it.
Cool. Great. Thanks for clarifying that.
Very good. All right. Have we got that moved and seconded? You know, would someone like to move that we support? I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thanks very much, Richard. Joint public transport establishment. Phil?
So there's some amendments that I would seek, and we've had some discussion about. The report, I think, is really clear, and I guess in some ways it depends on our interpretation of how the Joint Public Transport Committee can work, and I hope will work. Just taking back a step, we as a council have agreed in principle to set up such a committee. That's the first thing. The other thing too is it is clear in the report, in fact, this joint PT committee, it isn't going to necessarily achieve everything for us in terms of running public transport. Okay? We all understand that. I think what's important is that it is also clear that it can be, and I believe must be, a first step to achieve that. There are plenty of ways we can, in time, set up a single transport authority that this city runs in due course. I'm aware, though, that in terms of the legislation around the funding for public transport, subsidies for buses, that in fact we must work in a collaborative way with our other partners who listen to the report as ECAN and the other 2 smaller councils. I'm aware that there's certain potential for smaller district councils to really start deciding on Christchurch City's transport. However, it's essential that our public transport be fixed. We heard from the young people about that today. And if you look at transport altogether, the different reports that come to our Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee, the parts around roading and the Northern Arterial and motorways are being dealt with. The parts around our cycleways are underway. We're in the starting blocks of those. No question of that. The bit in the middle we must do, and I think we're unanimous on this, is our public transport system. So, I think really in the report it's clear that there's an emphasis on working collaboratively and cooperatively, and I think that's what we need to do at this stage. So with some amendments, I'm certainly happy to move the staff recommendations to be council recommendations. And in effect, we make a decision on it.
So you'd like to move the recommendation, and you want to add the names?
Well, look, there's been a lot of informal discussion, and I think that's really good. And it does come back to time that councillors have. And I'm actually really rapt, that Leanne Meyer has indicated that she will give her time, energy and skills to this committee. So, and I'm also really pleased that all the work that Councillor Pauline Cotter has done on the Public Transport Working Group, which really is a forerunner to this, that Pauline has also agreed to name forward, and in sharing that, the last Public Transport Working Group, I'm also prepared to put my name up. So, and I thank the councillors who have agreed to have your names up, and Leanne Meyer for doing that, because there is some time constraint involved.
Well, I'll second the motion then, and in speaking to it, just simply say that I've agreed to put my name forward for this committee because I want to signal how important public transport is to the city. It seems to me that the earthquake experience that we had as a city was actually an opportunity to get this right. And it's probably a matter of some disappointment that we hadn't moved towards seizing the opportunity as a country, really, to put right the situation here in Christchurch and enable us to trial innovative ways of getting people around what is a city that still does not provide the final flow of direction that it will do when it's completely recovered. And a much more agile and nimble system would have been, I think, preferable than sticking to roots and then introducing a hub and spokes model at a time when people were already quite devastated by the earthquake and actually not following the same traditional travel patterns of the city. So I think it was a big mistake to introduce quite a dramatic change to the system that, although you can say it went through a public consultation and there were submissions and hearings, and I know as a Member of Parliament I hosted a meeting with one of the regional council's staff members so that local New Brighton people could have a say about the proposed changes in those areas. And I actually found a submission that I made to the City Council on their annual plan at the time about how the need was for an interchange at New Brighton, not because it was a end of a, well, it wasn't a hub so much in terms of a central position. It was a hub and a spoke at the same time, but it was at the end of the spoke. And actually the model never worked for places like New Brighton because several bus services terminated in New Brighton with the leg that carried on down the South Brighton spit. The amount of damage that was done in that area due to the earthquakes, much smaller buses should have been feeder buses straight away. It took, I think, 2.5 years for a feeder bus to be put around the Dallington area that was affected by the closure of the Gayhurst Road Bridge. You know, so there are so many different elements, and I guess I know the East better than a lot of people in terms of the bus services. I used to catch the bus into town every Friday night, just about. I'd get off at the bus interchange. So when the businesses came to us in Riccarton and told us what the impact of having a bus interchange in the middle of a group of shops, I knew that what they were telling us would happen was the truth, because it's what I saw every Friday when I went into town. So, you know, it's I think that sometimes it's really important. I know that one of the councillors challenged me on the use of the phrase ground truther, but unless you ground truth it, unless you understand what a particular theoretical model is actually going to do when you want young people like the ones we heard from this morning who won't get on the bus because they don't know whether how long they're going to have to wait for the spoke route to come on and connect them up with a hub. They have to get on and off buses. They have to cross the busiest roads in Christchurch to do so. I just think that our system is broke and it needs fixing, and I want our city to be leading the way, not following in hot pursuit. So I'm sort of putting my stake in the ground by going on to a committee. It's not the end result that I want. I don't want a joint public transport committee that's controlled by the region and by the two small district councils. I want the Christchurch City Council to lead the development of a proper public transport, integrated public transport system that enables cyclists to use the buses as well. It enables people to get around the city smoothly, and enables people to have the freedom to move in a less congested environment. And I don't believe for 1 minute that the benefit is experienced by those who use the bus alone. And for those who say putting up the bus fares is the way to resolve the problem of decreased patronage, I would suggest that it's probably the reverse that would be true. You reduce the bus fares, but you make the buses reliable and way more efficient than getting in cars. You make the driving experience better for everyone who stays in cars. You make the cycling experience better for everyone, and you make the bus travel the priority that it should be, so that you can get to where you're going a lot quicker. And if you do those things, then you'll have an excellent system, which is what those young people were told they were coming to Christchurch to experience. So there. I ain't going to give up.
Can I just ask, because whenever you talk about public transport, we hear about cycles, cars and buses. At the risk of banging on about it, will there be a commitment for this organisation to also look at rail?
I'm absolutely committed. So, I want us to use all of the new technologies that are coming. We had a test drive on an electric car today. We've got a trial car available for councillors to use over the next week. So, we can talk to you about a simple booking system, so you can give it a go. But also, there are buses that are being developed that can run on rail, and simple systems that can run on rail and road. I think that's the solution, because that would really get people moving very quickly.
There was a gentleman that came to one of the sessions, and he's putting in a submission. He's got a whole lot of information on the Volvo bus. I think this, the wheels go up and that can go on rails. So it could go from Darfield or Rangiora or whatever, and then you can just hop off. So when it comes to a crossing, the wheels go up and it just drives on the road. So it's actually quite amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't see this as the model in any way, shape or form for the future of public transport in Christchurch. If we look at it, I appreciate it's going to happen, but I hope it happens for a very, very short time only. If we look at the possible models for public transport, and we look at this one gives ECAN 3 representatives, City Council 3 representatives, Selwyn 1, an independent chairperson 1, and YMAC 1. So the people who will pay 90% of the cost of this model get a third of the representation on this group. I think that's just wrong. I think the model is wrong, and the reason it's wrong is because of the current system that we have, and because the government has not been sufficiently bold to put public transport into the city council. We have a clear hierarchy of what is transport: walking, biking, public transport, freight, and cars. And that's our model of what we base our transport system on. We have two choices. Either we have three choices. We leave the current system where a regional council, currently completely unelected, has been for 6 years, and to be unelected at least in half for the next 3 years, gets to control our public transport, takes Wi-Fi off the budget, introduces a hub and spoke model that nobody really wants, introduces changes to routes that people really don't know where to go to, and so they come to us because they don't know that ECAN does these things. Or we have the potential actual Auckland model, which takes the roads and all that goes on the roads out of the council structure and puts it into a separate company. In many ways, that's even worse, because when you're trying to build a community in any way, you absolutely have to have that space that the road involves. So I don't like this system at all, and I won't vote for it, I won't vote against it, because I appreciate it's going to go through. I don't like the fact that for example, the budget in Selwyn for public transport infrastructure is a huge 10,000. It's massive. They get a third of the representation we do. Budget in WIMAC for public transport infrastructure, 45,000. Ours is, I don't know, millions. So what we end up with here is a make-do solution, because the government will not take the move to put public transport where it belongs, which is the Christchurch City Council. And then we include on that committee WIMAC and so on, and they make all the decisions that affect their area. Nobody's talking about taking them over yet, unless they at least. But I think this one just leaves so many annoying things to happen. We know that public transport has to innovate. We know that if we're going to meet our Paris obligations, we have to do quite major changes in terms of the fuels that we use. We know that people don't want to pay more fares, and yet they don't know where to tell people that. We know that we want to be able to put cycles on buses, all of those things. I appreciate this is a make-do, make the best of the mess that we've currently got, and that people are really committed to trying to make it work, and I appreciate that. But I just think that we're left in this situation because when the government looked at it, they did not come up with the best possible solution. And I have to say that Selwyn and WIMAC and ECAN were also sabotaging, well not sabotaging, but stopping the best possible solution being established in Christchurch, which, if the function lies in the urban area, should be administered by the urban area alongside every other aspect of footpaths, bikes, cars, roads, traffic lights, all of those things that the City Council controls. So to have a special thing that deals with the buses, which are so important in the city, is a sad sort of reflection on the fact that we haven't got a good system in place for who controls public transport.
And then Glenn.
Thank you. I endorse the comment that has been made, but I think it's also more fundamental that actually the competitive service model of competing companies providing a public service is at the heart of why the passenger transport system doesn't work. The incentive for the companies that run it isn't to provide the best possible service for the passenger, it's to make as much profit as possible through a competitive tendering system, which is being shown in Christchurch to lead to a race to the bottom. So when we get buses on the roads that are death traps on wheels, that get pulled up by the police for not having adequate brakes, etc., is it any wonder people don't go on the buses? What we actually need, and we should be petitioning and asking government, is in a post-disaster environment, even though I think it applied before the earthquake, that the funding model for public passenger transport is wrong in a city like Christchurch, with the huge expenditure that we're going through in terms of being asked to fund hundreds of millions of dollars of transport infrastructure in a city post-disaster, and we still have a competitive public transport system that actually doesn't enable us to give the benefit back to the people that use the service, but rather private companies making money off it. So I think the model is fundamentally wrong, not just from the fact that the regional council runs the public passenger transport decisions, and that it is actually fundamentally wrong from how it's funded. So to do innovative things around offering reduced bus fares or free bus fares, which I think would be fantastic if you really want to get mode shift, we're constrained because of all these competitive tendering things that have to occur. So, I think it's a real shame we haven't been able to get the opportunity to rebuild actually what was, I think, historically in Christchurch, a world-class bus system when there was actually a transport board that delivered the entire system and it was recognised, I think, fairly well around the world and throughout New Zealand as being one of the best systems. It was simple, easy to use. People knew what a red bus was. Now you've got different coloured buses going up and down. You've heard the complaints that have come in. You've got a system that's not designed to make it easy for people to use. And so we're also going to spend, largely because government have put in an accessible transport city plan, a huge amount of money on hard fixed infrastructure without any decision about where the bus routes go. And I think that's really, really so. I appreciate that this committee is an attempt to try and have a little bit of a greater say, but I don't think it goes anywhere near enough. We should be actually approaching government with, I think, compelling reasons why we should actually overtake public passenger transport for the city and change the funding models.
Sorry, I thought I made it clear that that's exactly what we continue to do. So, Glenn, and then Tim, and then Phil.
Oh, thank you. I support this, as I can see that future steps would naturally bring public transport control back into the fold of a fully democratic elected authority. We've seen what's happened over the hubs and spokes model, the fee structure and the contracts. If it's back into the fold of a democratic body, there's a leverage that would exist for residents. You know, they have little voice at the moment to go to the commissioners. If it's put back under our control, they can put pressure on us. So it flips over. I mean, this is what we want to do anyway. The burden then goes back onto us to get it right. But I think this is what we want. We want a fully integrated system under one authority, and I totally support this.
Tim?
Thank you. I support this too, and the reason I'm supporting it is because I've been banging on about it as a service industry, and we heard today from those young people how uncomfortable they were on the bus, etc. And I don't blame the bus drivers if there's not a support mechanism for them to step in when there is an unruly or an aggressive person on that bus. But when you're in a competitive tendering process, you can have one company that is reinvesting in its staff, uplifting and upselling those frontline staff to make that a pleasant and more enjoyable ride, etc. But if the others don't join in on that, then you are behind the eight ball, and you will be for a while. And I think through this, if we can have a say in the ratings and those contracts and that type of thing, well then I think that's all good, and that's what we've got to get. Because the understanding is a bus service, at the end of the day, is a service industry. So I'm fully in support of this.
Was it?
Just bring it.
Yeah, you.
Look, I don't. Disagree with what you're saying, what Jan is saying about where running of our buses should be, where it actually belongs. I don't disagree with that at all. What's important though is that in fact, we're not losing anything out of this. We're not giving anything away. There's no transfer of our delegations to anybody else. The committee will only have powers which can make recommendations for us and for the different territorial authorities. So there are some very positive things in it too about how we can take future public transport. And in fact, new buses should be low carbon and energy efficient. And it's very clear in the terms of reference that that is what this new committee is going to be tasked with doing, as well as leading the development of a whole new joint work program. So I think it's got a lot of potential. I understand the concerns that have been expressed, but I urge all councillors to support the recommendations.
Look, I'm sorry, but I didn't see you, and that was Phil's right of reply. So because I didn't see you, I'm just going to let Phil, and nobody can please haul me over the coals for a breach of standing order. Thanks.
Look, I am going to support it, but I actually share every single word that Vicky said. I think as long as this does not get in the way of our future goal of actually controlling our own public transport system by one means or another, whether it's actually by the council or a transport authority that we set up.
I mean, I just, and since I've already breached standing orders once, I'll do it twice. The reason that I said what I said was that I have made it crystal clear to ECAN that being involved in this does not diminish one instant our commitment to what we have publicly claimed from the minute that we were elected, which is our strong belief that City Council is in the best position to lead the public transport system for its own city. And obviously, in close engagement with Salmon and Waimakariri, whose their constituents, several of whom, many of whom have moved from Christchurch City and now seek to return to the city to work every working day. And the challenges in the early morning and the challenges in the late evening are something that we have to work on and take responsibility for together, because that's the only way that we're going to solve them. So I just wanted to make that crystal clear that going down this pathway for me is not the end of my absolute commitment to continue to lobby central government for a restoration of a fully functioning public transport system, fully integrated with all of our other transport responsibilities, and with the Waimangaroa District Council fully involved. So I will put that motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's carried. Would you like it recorded?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. The next item is item 42. We've done 43. We did. We did minutes. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. So, 42. I move that, seconded by.
Can I just get clarification? I thought we did the minutes at the start of the meeting.
We did the minutes at the start of the meeting. That's why I got confused. These are the chair's reports. I don't know why they're referred. I would have thought it would have been just the minutes, but anyway. But I'll talk to the Chief Executive about the future of how these report, but anyway, it's been moved and seconded. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And that item 43 is that it's a request that in line with our terms of reference as the Strategic Subcommittee, we request the Council to consider options and next steps for Crown Council governance arrangements. And so this is just simply the authorisation of the work to be developed by staff. So that's something that we will hand over to the Chief Executive if this is accepted. I'll move that, seconded by. Okay.
Just a question on that. Is that going to include future district plan issues?
No. No, this is in relation to the way that the Crown and the Council operate at a governance level, because there is now more than one government department that we deal with, and we've got the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet in a leadership position in the city, but with the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment supporting the essential rebuild and providing advice on public sector rebuild, Ministry of Health supporting psychosocial recovery with PHB, LINS, etc. So,
in light of the discussion we just had before around alert, where's the interface around like planning?
I'm just saying there is currently no governance forum or structure for the Mayor and Councillors and the responsible ministers of the inheriting agencies meet. So we're asking staff to provide advice and options on Crown Council governance arrangements.
Yeah, can we have reference to future planning as well? Like, or is that just going to
include agencies like Regenerate Christchurch, Otago. So because we now have many more interfaces, we need to think about how the governance works across all of those.
So it will include planning.
regeneration planning is covered under the new
Not just
greater
regeneration
Christchurch.
planning, but the whole future of planning.
What do you mean future of planning?
Like what's happening in terms of district plan review, how we liaise around things like the regional policy, the LERT.
No. That's quite separate. That's the UDS. That's the and the district plan review is on a sort of a different track. We haven't got the replacement district plan in place yet. It won't be in place until the end of this year. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. As opposed, no. That's carried. And the next one is the identifying urban regeneration priorities. There's the information in the report. Would someone like to move that? Andrew, seconded. Pauline. Any discussion? Put that motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. That's
Well,
carried.
didn't you?
Thank you. Carolyn, we've done the
Run while
strategic
you
notice subcommittee minutes. It's a bit. And we've now got the Avon temporary stock banks management, item 56 on the supplementary agenda.
Yep, they're all.
Keith,
Stock banks.
you're on.
So the recommendations on this one around approval for a fast track sandbank replacement construction works and progressing temporary stock banks management option 1. So do you want to introduce it, Phil, and you're moving it and
I'm moving, yeah.
and Pauline will second it, right? So
look,
over to you.
And in fact, it has come to the ITI committee. We supported the staff recommendations. I think it's around the stock banks will give more certainty for how temporary stock banks, they still will be, as to how we manage any flooding, and especially with the impact of the tide in the lower reaches. And all this has been part of the land drainage recovery program, and we can get reported this year. But the staff will explain the specifics of the project much more clearly than I would, because there is some complexity to it.
Yep. Paul.
Just want to get some clarity around the option of doing minimum, which is $1 million.
Oh, the staff is just going to do a report.
That's a question I've asked.
Yeah. Did you want us to give just a
Yeah.
by way of briefing?
That would be great. Okay.
Okay, I'll perhaps just a little bit of an introduction, then I can maybe fill in some other details. The Avon temporary stock banks that have deteriorated, the sandbag sections have not lasted, so there is a need to carry out a certain amount of minimum level repairs. Because of the nature of the residential red zone and the delays in decisions over future that, we're not able to go forward with permanent stock banks, so there's a need to carry out works. The proposals include allow for improving the stock bank design life up to 20 years, still temporary in nature, not permanent, but it does allow time for decisions to be taken on that. Whilst looking at those repairs, there's an opportunity to see with option 1 to provide some level of enhancement to improve levels of service by raising the stock banks slightly. So there's additional cost to that, but we feel that it is important that we review and consider the levels of service in the area, and we have a proposal for option 1 with some improvements. Do you want to add to that?
I think it's worthwhile just emphasising these were originally built under emergency to stop tidal inundation, and they were originally planned to be built to 10.8 metres and raised slightly higher as the design went on. They were always intended to be interim, and so this process was just carrying out a rigorous risk analysis to assess their stability under a range of loadings, high tides and so on, to test just how well they might stand up over time. They were found to be in generally good condition and stable. Just those sandbag sections that were needing to be replaced with urgency, hence the first part of our recommendation. But then also an opportunity, as Keith said, to increase the level of service through the middle sections, and we'll also look at strengthening other sections as needed. And the philosophy, I guess, is to just maximise the use of these interim stop banks whilst we're waiting for the longer term solution.
And I think you probably need to add to that you've taken a multi-hazard approach rather than just the one.
Well, the stop banks are not built to withstand an earthquake, and I think we have to be very open about that. That the cost of strengthening the earthquakes would be significant. Having said that, we went through the February 14th earthquake and they withstood that very well. And every time there is an earthquake, we check ground accelerations, and then if there is a certain level, we go out and do an inspection. So there is a multi-hazard in terms of tidal inundation and flooding, but not for sea level rise as well. And that's one thing to point out, is not to account any sea level rise. That's due to the high horizon we're looking at.
Sorry. David and Glenn.
Thank you. I appreciate this refers to the temporary stop banks from Bridge Street up, and I have a couple of angles I want to approach here. One concerning the stop banks that are up street of Bridge Street, and in particular how we propose to deal with temporary stop banks that may be leaking at this stage. I am aware of some work that's already temporary work that's been carried out around Owls Terrace, and recent high tides have seen a reasonable amount of water still leaking through the stop bank. Is it your intention to take any corrective measures to stop leakage of these temporary stop banks?
There will be some seepage through the stop banks. That's generally relatively low. I think the surface ponding that's noticed during high tides or the rainfall events has a number of mechanisms which could be caused. One could be that there's flap gates on the ends of pipes which are leaking back up through the sumps, and so circumventing the stop banks that way. So what we will do is when works have been carried out on a section of the stop banks, we'll make sure that the infrastructure beneath those is checked as well and corrected. And part of the detailed design, we'll also be requesting that looking at the local drainage and the floodgates as well. So seepage through stop banks is quite low, but there will be some, but I do not think that it's the cause of the most of the ponding that's been seen. So there's a number of other mechanisms that are occurring.
So there is one or two areas we're specifically looking at the moment where we don't think it's in excess of what you see from seepage, so we're getting the surface floodgates checked. And the City Care are actually going out and checking some tomorrow.
Good. And secondly, the flow-on effect, if you pardon the pun, it's probably a good question. More for the Chief Executive, I suppose, is in recent weeks we've had issues below Bridge Street which aren't covered in this report, and I'll probably raise a can of worms if I start bringing it up, but it is apart from this. Are these issues going to come before Council at some stage?
There's some work being done on that, yes.
So it's probably not appropriate that I raise it now, but I just wanted to ensure that those downstream flow-on effects, we can discuss them at some stage in the near future.
Yeah, I think that because there was there's been a report done for councillors which you will have seen, yes. Which we're sending to the community groups that have raised these issues. But the area that you're talking about is where there's I'm going to try and get this right, the confluence of the tidal and the where the stop banks are effective against the river that way, but not the tidal coming in that way.
No,
so
but there are a number of things that I'd quite like to address in that area, but there will be a separate session on that coming forward to council.
Well, yes, there will be, because you will have seen from the report that there's quite a lot of work yet to be done in that area. Yeah, so there will be, but it's a bigger issue because it's not about stop banks.
No. But
there's work to be done.
There is work to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just want to back David up on that, actually. Just a crucial issue for the ward. Just got a few questions here. Will these temporary stop banks prevent the kind of hydrostatic pressure, so that that's the right term, the water coming up from beneath the ground, or is that just something residents will have to live with on the roads that surround
the stop banks are not, these ones do not have any groundwater cut-off mechanism in them, so yes, groundwater can come through with the differential between the tide and ground levels. There is potential for that to increase groundwater levels on the other side.
Sure. And just to I hope this can be acted on fairly quickly. Just Halsey Street, where the South New Brighton campground is below the schematic. I know you're not necessarily saying that that's where the stop banks will go, but just in the report, Halsey Street's a few blocks below that dotted line. So one of the residents of the campground, South New Brighton, yes, it is a plea that the sandbags have solidified, not offer up protection. Could we please have something there?
Yes, I think that's a coastal erosion issue there. Those bags are protecting for coastal erosion, as far as I understand.
Right, so...
As opposed to tidal inundation.
Okay. So that's another time frame altogether.
And yes, and this project's looking at inundation, and it's not looking at all the erosion issues, apart from for the protection of the stop banks.
Which is in part of the issue that I want to address with that whole south of Bridge Street, which is outside of what you are bringing to us today, but there is a substantial issue that needs to be addressed and debated, and there are a number of questions that I'd like to raise which are outside this report, but I'm signalling that there is a strong desire to have that forum in front of this body.
Mentioned a very complex issue, and there won't be
but I can't ask the questions in front of this forum unless I have a paper that addresses it. This paper does not address specifically anything downstream of Bridge Street.
Yeah, no, that's not. It doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
And the trouble is that the properties that are affected in terms of the issue that you're raising aren't all downstream of Bridge Street.
No.
But their protection or their vulnerability comes from the south of Bridge Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just signalling
the confluence of the tidal versus the river. Yeah. So I think that one of the things that we probably need to do is to get that item onto this agenda, and I don't know that Richard's still in the room, he's not, but I think that a report from the District Plan Review Committee to the Council would bring that issue to the agenda. That might be the way to do it, because
it certainly can't come on this agenda.
No, it can't come on this agenda right now because it's not relevant to the paper. But it is an important issue, and every council is aware of it. So and it's there's been significant public interest in the issue as well. So it seems to me that because one of the downsides of the removal of the coastal hazards chapter from the District Plan Review is that there is a distinct difference between the land on the coast and land on the estuary, and perhaps we should have allowed the estuary side to continue. So we have asked the district plan review supports staff to analyse that request and to come back to us. There's no reason why that report can't come to council. So that would actually bring it to the council table.
I think it's just my third one.
Yep.
It's a good segue though. Just in 6.17, where it says in this section the title and influence decreases. Obviously you're the ones with the knowledge on that, but I sort of just the point, it's still very very strong tidal influence in that middle section.
So there's still strong tidal influence, but the river flooding becomes the dominant influence in terms of determining the peak water levels.
Okay.
So you'll notice tide when there's not a flood. In the flood, then the flood trumps the tide and rises peak water levels.
Runs pretty high even without.
So we do model the peak flood events with a high tide as well.
Yep.
You know, so a 200-year flood event is run with a 20-year peak tide, which is quite extreme.
Yanni?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to check, you haven't proposed anything around the Avon Loop area, although that was an area that does get more than the last day of flooding. I mean, the river's the land's very low. Can I just ask why not?
So that area is an area that we've classified as being in the upper section, and that's where the flood level starts to increase quite significantly above the original design level of 11.2. And then looking at those properties which are affected in that area, this will be part of the review as well. So far we've only been able to determine that there's unoccupied red zone properties that are affected by flooding in these extreme events. Day to day, of course, there's a river stays within its normal, but it's looking at whether there's a need to provide protection, which is just for occupied red zone properties. And also stop at a artificial point. If we were to raise the stop banks in the upper section, they've noticed that there's a stop off point. This then goes more to the question of the long term. What is, if there is going to be an engineered flood solution, what will that look, how far will it extend? So that was the rationale there. Right, so in terms of the numbers of people that are affected, in the downstream, the middle and the upper, how many people is the protection for? Or how many dwellings? There's quite a significant amount of dwellings in the middle and the downstream that are occupied green zone properties, and those have been our focus for protecting. And then in the upper section, there are no green zone properties at risk of flooding. That will be, of course, reviewed again through the detailed design, just to make sure we've got that completely right. Okay. And in regards to Avon Park, so it constantly gets a lake. Is this going to address the lake in Avonside Drive? That is this. Yeah, that falls within the middle section, which is going to have these stop banks raised. So you're going to raise the stop banks? Is it? And that's part of that. Looking at coming underneath. Well, we're looking at the local drainage issues there as well. Yeah. As I said before, the planning that's noticed in the road there could be a number of mechanisms. So determining what is actually causing that. Right. So, but it will be addressed. Yes. And just the final question I had was just in regards to understanding, like $4 million, quite a lot of money in regards to a response. I don't know if you've seen the letter that we've had from Hugo. Yes. So I don't know if there's any response to that. I mean, there's some comment in there about reinterpreting or redefining stop banks and dams, but also just, I guess, the $4 million that's spending, it's just for temporary measures. How future-proofed are these temporary solutions, and what's the kind of time frame for getting the permit?
So these temporary stop banks are expected to have an interim design life of 20 years. How long it will take to get decisions on the red zone and to move forward with permanent stop banking is very difficult to say.
No.
Right, but I mean, just in terms of things like, there we spent a lot of money on a temporary library, and then, a few months later we have to go and...
Look, Yanni, I really do think that that's a little bit...
Sandbags in the libraries, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I know.
No, do we have any sense? I mean, obviously we talk to the Crown, someone's talking to them about the future of the red zone. We've got, people that are communicating. Are we talking basically years before we get some sort of physical works in this area?
We don't know. We can't answer that.
It's difficult to answer, but my personal view, from what I understand, the sense is that it could be years before those decisions of permanent stop banks can be agreed. Okay.
There's a significant amount of work yet to be done in terms of, there are roads that we have to determine the future of some roads. Where there is a whole lot of work to be done, but it's being done in a collaborative way between the Crown and the Council, and that was made pretty clear in the letter of expectations which we signed off to Regenerate Christchurch in terms of looking to those infrastructure needs for the city. It's got to be very much a part of the regeneration of the city. So, but in terms of the correspondence that you referred to, I'm quite clear before, because that was what I was referring to, that we are going to send them a copy of the memorandum that every councillor has had this week, and it's just to make sure that we're completely on the same page. We all need to get these things resolved, but as we all know, we're talking about sea level rise, which is what the coastal inundation issue is about. When we're talking about sea level rise, we're talking about prediction modelling 50 to 100 years out. So, there is no impending sense of urgency, but it is something that we need to resolve. And in the meantime, we do need to have these temporary stop banks, the management option that has been selected by the committee, by staff supported by the committee. I think we do need to get that underway as quickly as we possibly can. Paul?
Just go back to the question so to get answered around the $1 million option. That I know that there's the views are is to get the slightly higher level of service, but the $1 million option is slightly lower level of service. What sort of lifespan would that option provide?
Looking at the same lifespan, it's just around the probability of it being overlocked. Because they're lower, there's a high probability that in the next 20 years, they're elevated up to 20 years, they might be overtopped. So that's the main driver for looking at increasing.
Life would be there 20 years.
No, but again, that decision's...
Well, this is back to the point. We don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to be a number of years, but it's difficult to know how many. We very much hope it's not going to be 20 years. But from a cost-effective point of view, this is a time frame that we can provide temporary interest stop banks up to that life. In the worst case, should it take that long?
And I'd expect the option 3, the do minimum, is just to replace the sandbag sections. Now, if we were to leave the other sections, there'll be, I think, a drip feeding of works needing to be done to kind of keep the various sections will need to be worked on as time progresses. So rather than spending the $4 million at this point to get them generally to a state where the maintenance is this, I think the do minimum option would require funds to be applied more regularly to keep them up to the right.
I've no idea what that may be, just a ballpark.
No, because it's very much dependent on earthquake events, it's dependent on flood events, it's dependent on just in general how well they maintain other things. Some of the damage to the stop banks has been through sandbag being removed from white baiters, so things that you're not able to control.
Right, so I will put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Say no. That's carried. Thank you. And the next item is the resolution to assist the public, and We have a recommendation that Garth Carnaby, Chair of Canterbury Development Corporation, Tom Hooper, Chief Executive of Canterbury Development Corporation, Dave Hawkey, Chair, Christchurch Canterbury Tourism, and Gowan, Chief Executive of Christchurch and Canterbury Tourism, remain after the public have been excluded for item 50 of the public excluded agenda, as they have acknowledged that is relevant to that item and will assist the council.
Apologies from Dave Hawkey, he's unable to come.
Oh, so well, we don't need Dave Hawkey's name in the list. I mean, he's welcome to say he did turn up, so. Right, so I'll move that and seconded by Ali, and I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. That's carried. Right, so we'll break. There's a cup of tea in the foyer.